Marissa, is that you? Are you on?
Hi, April. Yeah, I'm on. I'm just setting up the.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you now.
I'm just setting up the live stream, so I'm gonna stay muted and just get it all set up.
Okay, and I'm gonna mute too.
Okay, sounds good.
Good to see you. Hi, my friend.
Morning.
Good morning. Listen, I'm multitasking. I'm pulling one of your numbers. So Sundays we're doing a friend of mine and I are doing self-care real talk on Sunday mornings at 9. I'm growing into my Wesley status. I did have 17 people today though, and I'm quite proud.
You did it on Clubhouse?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and now it's taking on a whole nother energy. I'll let you know if we're gonna do it every Sunday. You're on here, like I know you're doing a lot of stuff, but this is our 3rd week doing it, I think.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't tell me. I would have chopped.
Okay, next week.
I was just rolling around the house like, no, I'm not gonna get in the Clubhouse this morning because I'm gonna be. Because yesterday I was up at like 4 a.m. and I was on it all day.
Oh yeah, and you needed a break.
Yeah, so like because I don't know, it was gravitating, it was good, it was fulfilling, but by noon I ended up I'm like, yeah, it was some hours. So this morning I was gonna take a break and use this. So yeah.
Okay, well then next week I'll send you a message because for me, Wes, I was telling Marissa that it's pretty overwhelming for me. I get, because I have 3 boys and there's just a lot of information that it's just too much in my brain. And so I need to
it's a lot. It's a lot when you're doing a lot. So I'm like, it's kind of like finding a place to finding time to do it outside of like everything else you got going on. So like this, like today, it could have been you could have took a break.
Right. Yeah.
Because when people start to share their stories and things like that, it can get more and more in depth and into conversations. And I don't know if y'all bringing people on stage, but even with the dialogue sometimes. It can be in depth. Oh
Yeah.
man, our lady's not on yet.
They're coming. They're having a hard time getting on, Marissa. Maybe I'm gonna send a text with all of us on, and maybe
You need me to resend them the link?
I just did. Yeah, I'm putting a text with all three of us. Maybe your link is different than what I had. Oh, somebody.
That's Amy.
Okay. I'm finishing up my coffee too. I just text with all three of us on the text, Marissa.
I see it.
Thank you. And then Wes, next Sunday you could jump on mine. And then we need to do ours with
Much. Yeah, I'm so ready. I actually just made a club, so it's called I'm Proud of What I Represent.
Oh, look at you.
I gotta find, get some club rules and all that stuff, but I wanted to have like people so it can create dialogues from all different, communities, and it's just more or less of like, what I'm gravitating toward.
Mhm.
But yeah, to be as profound, to be I am, right? And so whoever can speak that has that ability to now be vulnerable enough or empathetic enough to have a dialogue and conversation for understanding. So
Yeah.
it's like, I think, yeah, so I'm excited about it.
I am proud of you. Doing your thing. Hi, Amy. You have to interpret me saying hi to you.
Hello, good morning.
Morning. We're just waiting for the link isn't working for some reason for Melissa and Anna, so they're gonna get on the link, and I'm gonna
Okay.
Pour my cup of coffee.
Okay.
I hear all kind of dings going on. Amy, have you done Clubhouse? Have you heard of it?
I have heard of it. I haven't yet joined. Unfortunately, I have an Android, so I can't join.
Oh, well, Amy.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Here.
No, but I hear really great things about it. It seems awesome.
It's amazing. It just takes it takes a lot of time. Yeah, a lot of time.
Yeah,
Out of your day.
Time suck.
Yeah, if you find something that you gravitate to, it'll suck you on in.
Well, that's good, opposed to just being on Facebook all day or Instagram all day. So that's a good alternative.
It is. Yeah, because you could actually put it down and just listen and walk around and do things. That's why I like it. But I since I feel like I have so much noise in my house and I talk a lot, if you guys hadn't noticed, I'm a talker, and too much noise, I can't take it. I just need silence sometimes. So I don't listen to Clubhouse for hours and hours and hours. And then people sometimes talk crazy, right, Wes?
I'm over here trying to share. So is it better to share the Facebook link?
Probably so.
Or the YouTube link?
Oh, I don't know.
You can share YouTube, Wes.
Okay.
We're trying to get more viewers on the YouTube today.
Got you. So I'm gonna do the swipe up on my Instagram.
Hey, YouTubers. We're on YouTube and Facebook Live. Correct, Marissa?
We will be next time. We had some technical difficulties this time, so we're on YouTube this time.
Oh, we need to switch people. Oh, when they click onto Facebook, will they be switched to YouTube?
Yes, there's a link there for that.
Okay. We are being organic and flowing, right, you guys?
Yep.
Amy, you got your curls. I got my curls blow dried yesterday because I got my hair dyed. Cover them all. I like your curls.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm trying to manage through them. It's tough in the winter because it's cold. So this is an interesting hair day, but thank you.
It's cute. That's why my hair is always in a bun. I should tell everybody.
And I'm going to go ahead and mute just so I don't have to struggle when they join.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Marissa, Anna says she's still not able to get on. She doesn't see a link.
I resent it about 2 minutes ago to their inboxes through email.
Okay. Is it snowing where you are, Wes?
Yeah, well, it's done. It's snow on the ground. It's gonna be nice and cold for those brownies today. You know, Chiefs play today. You know, so we're good with the weather.
Watch the game. I think I saw you tweeted. Did you see how they crushed the Steelers? And I say the Steelers because I live here, but I'm not. Guys, I'm from California, so I'm like a Rams fan. I lived in Atlanta for 12 years. I like the Falcons. I wasn't expecting the Browns to do all that.
Oh my God, it was embarrassing. Oh my God, I don't even know how they went home.
What was that about?
It was personal.
Oh my God, I couldn't even believe that was happening. So for those who are coming on live, thank you for joining us. I'm April Jackson, and this is my co-host, Wesley Hamilton. And we are here for another Sunday Safe Spaces, and we're streaming live on YouTube today. So if you've joined us from Facebook, wonderful. Those who are on Facebook should be able to jump right into YouTube. And we are talking about women and Black women in particular. Hello. And the Black woman experience, Black women in leadership, and everything that goes with that. So Melissa is on. Good morning. Oh, and poor Melissa. I just got off of a Clubhouse, and one of the girls was like, I'm in LA. And I thought of Melissa. She's on EST time.
Yes, I am.
Crack it on.
Dragging myself out of bed, but it's worthwhile.
You look beautiful just coming out of bed. This is me coming out of bed, and you coming out of bed. You look gorgeous. I did have enough wherewithal to light the fire because we are still getting snow. And Anna, good morning.
Good morning.
Anna is joining us. I'm fine. How are you?
Great. I love the whole fire background scene and so cozy, and with your coffee or your tea, whatever you're drinking.
Coffee. This is me waking up to my Aries.
Oh man, Anna does not look like she just woke up. Everybody,
I know, right? Anna's like, you know, the glam. She's bringing the glam.
Look, talk about Black women, right? Like we can work it out.
Right?
Well, I take that as a compliment. Thank you. It's great to see all of you. Wesley, so great to see you. And hopefully you've enjoyed your continuing birthday celebration.
Oh.
And just so happy to be here this morning.
Yes. Anna was on this morning on a little bit of Clubhouse. Anna, we ended up having like 17 to 20 people in Clubhouse on Sunday Self-Care Real Talk. So
wow.
For those who are watching, Wesley suggested that we take today's conversation and actually put it on a Clubhouse. So that's our plan for the next week or two. I say let's just give it a week. Wes, you've been like, just do it. So we're going to take your initiative and just do it. Those who are joining us live on YouTube, thank you. Those who are watching us later on, thank you. I'm April Jackson, co-host Wesley Hamilton here. Now, I'm just making this into a talk show. But honestly, we're here with Open Up Pittsburgh, and Open Up Pittsburgh, our mission is to help just bring centering and grounding to people. Open Up really focuses on doing that with the community that is disabled. And we have expanded that to also bring that into the community of those who are of color. And so with the grant from Lululemon, the Here to Be grant, we've been able to expand that. And that's what Open Spaces is about, and the intersection of it all. So we represent men, women, all abilities, all ableisms, and we're here to just talk the talk. Melissa and Anna are two amazing women. And today we're talking about Black women. We're talking about Black women in leadership, and we're talking about everything that encompasses that. And Anna is definitely a proponent. She's always been, we used to call, like, Anna has always been Sweet Anna, right? Like, I've known her for, I'm not even gonna tell people how long. And she's just always had a kindness and just always true to herself no matter what. And so she really has the ability to help people tap into who they authentically are. And she coaches people and consults with people and companies to help them develop success through being authentic. Melissa is, she is a doctor, however, she is a coach. And she taught me EFT, which is emotional freedom.
Emotional freedom techniques.
Emotional freedom techniques.
Or tapping.
Tapping. And so we tapped for quite some time, and I'm still tapping. Wes, we should do a whole tapping session together. Have you done that, Wes?
No, I haven't.
It's like acupuncture, but without the needles.
Really?
Yeah, it's really great. And it's great for releasing fears and anxieties and stress. And it's wonderful for, among other things, and it's great for things like peak performance and releasing limiting beliefs and shifting your mindset. So helping create cognitive shifts in your mindset so you can take the forward actions that you want to create a life worth, that you really want. So.
Right. And she forges like Eastern and Western medicine. She is a doctor, so she's a psychiatrist. So she helps get our mind right and our bodies right.
Yep.
And, Melissa and Anna, you're meeting Amy. Amy is our ASL interpreter. And because Sunday Safe Spaces is really about an open up, is about for this, it's about Black people and people of color, and really giving voice to our voices, because for so long our voices have been suppressed, and they kind of still are. Like, look at what happened at the Capitol this week. So this is a space to do that, and Amy represents that as well. The ASL interpreter that we work with was like, you know what, I want you guys, do you want a Black female interpreter? I was like, I literally had tears in my eyes. So I'm so appreciative of her giving her time. And this is our, I don't know, like our 4th rodeo together, I think, Amy. So,
Awesome.
So let's talk. I left all of you. We had a pre-panel discussion, everyone. We were talking about Black women in leadership, and such a beautiful time. It's been a hard time, 2021 is still hard. 2020 was hard. But we've seen so much come out of the ashes. And so when we talk about Black women in leadership, we are able to look at right now, this was planned a while ago, and now we're looking at Black women in leadership. We're looking at my soror and Anna's soror, Alpha Kappa Alpha woman, Kamala Harris, Vice President, coming into office, and she is such a dynamic individual. She's a biracial woman of color. And that's why I really emphasize BIPOC, because some people are like, we just need to talk about Black people. And I agree, there's a time and a space to definitely reflect on the Black American experience, but there's so many intersections with that, right? So there's the Black woman experience and a Black American woman, but then a Black woman who's biracial, which we are going to talk about today, is an intersection of that. And a Black woman or a woman of color that experiences colorism, experiences sexism. I mean, we all experience the same thing, and we all experience things that are different. So we really want to tap and talk about all of that.
April, how you see those memes and it always has like the color chart. So basically what you're defining is like, once you get past that bright color and it just gets tinted, now you have all these different levels of Blackness or color, right? That now you have to go in deep. And from the levels, the more in depth it goes.
Yeah,
See what I mean?
that's so true. That speaks to like colorism, right?
Yes.
And the Black woman's experience with that. And that's a good way we can dive into it. I that's interesting because I want to talk about like a Kamala Harris and I want to talk about a Stacey Abrams, right? Like, oh, so many things. So thank you for saying that, Wes. Let's unpack that. So let's talk about Black women in leadership and colorism and how that affects that. And I will share, I understand that because my mother, like you guys know, Wes, you don't know, my mother is very light skin, like lighter than everyone on this panel. And my whole family was. And what's interesting, I have the most pro-Black family ever, which was hilarious. And like half of you guys could pass. But I'm putting it out there. That is my family history. My uncle shared with me. And he was like, listen, I want to apologize before I say this, but I just want to give you a history. My grandmother used to pass and sing in jazz clubs. And she told all the kids, like, you know how hard it is for us already. Don't marry anybody who's too dark, because then you're not going to get the benefits of being able to kind of try to get passed into society. My aunt used to go to Vegas. She married a dark guy, a brother. He was a jazz musician. She would go into the front door of the hotel so she can get a room, and he would have to come in through the back. And so when we talk about what you just said, Wes, talk about colorisms and the striation of complexion and how, do you guys think that? Do you see that where a woman who looks a certain way has more success in leadership than a woman who doesn't?
I think, yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting, just even from personal experience and just having that idea implanted in us at such a young age, I think from birth on, and so really growing up for me, certainly being biracial, having a white mother and a Nigerian father who wasn't in the picture, so raised by a single white mother, but in a very white Utah, but having that experience of it wasn't okay to be Black. You had to almost erase your Blackness in order to be accepted on some level, even within the family structure, the greater family structure. And whether or not this was actually true, this was my belief, absolutely. And living by that all throughout school, certainly, going on to Harvard and to med school and to all of those places and in leadership roles after med school in my healthcare organizations and being Black, but it was okay to be Black, but not too Black. Couldn't be too Black, yes. Because it was threatening somehow, so I felt on some level that I was accepted because I wasn't threatening. And I remember, I distinctly remember, oh my gosh, in med school, I was doing a surgical rotation at a hospital. And the older white male attending, I had on some sort of necklace that was, that looked ethnic in some way. I mean, it was actually, I had gotten it from like Pier 1 or World Market, something like that. So it was made somewhere in an African country actually and brought over. So it was beautiful. I loved it. And he looked at that and said, is that some sort of voodoo thing? Literally, yes. No, I remember that distinct. I know my jaw dropped, and I was like a third year medical student or fourth year medical student, and I didn't even know what to say. What are you going to say to that? So I was too Black for him. So.
Oh, there goes my dog.
I always tell, just like how you said, it's like you have to kind of mask it. And like for me, just I can reference just the colorism part, because as a Black man, it's really in a perspective of Black man, just want to share this, is that it really doesn't matter what color you are. You do have advantages too, right? As you get lighter and darker. But like for me, I'm like brown skin. So I was always just like in between. But my point about this, because I don't want to take away anything from my women today. My point about this is when I got my disability, it opened up me to go into rooms that I couldn't go into when I was walking as a Black man.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Wow.
You were perhaps less threatening
Exactly.
on that level. That and it's all about this perceived threat. I'm interested to see what Anna's experience has been too, but that's so powerful, Wesley. It's the sad truth.
Oh yeah, I started using it to my advantage, because like even my friends used to see it. They're like, "Man, what?" Like, and people would invite me to their homes and invite me to spaces, and I'm like, "Bro, you don't even know my background," But now you're embracing me because you see this. You see me as less than, instead of like who I am, as a being. So I just understood that as much as you said it, as women, right, and how they see and view women. So go ahead, Anna.
Thank you, Wesley. And I would love to hear you, Anna, talk about that. How, if you see me less than, so I'll let you in. How are we able to be authentic with that, Anna?
Well, first of all, Melissa, I don't remember. I know we talk all the time. I don't remember that instance that you had. I'm so sorry that you had that. And then Wesley, I haven't known you very long, but I can just tell what a powerhouse you are. So, don't underestimate, right? Don't underestimate, that's for sure. And so I think, when it comes down to everyone's experience, I know that I certainly have had, how many times, was I speaking to someone over the phone and then they see me in person, oh, or whatever it might be, oh my gosh, you don't sound Black, whatever that means, right? Whatever quote that means. And, because, we are biracial, depending on what part of the world I'm in, I'll get people who think, I'm Indian or South American, or, it could be a variety of different things. And so, but it's like people, what it comes down to is that people want to categorize you. They can't just be comfortable with you being you. And so really what it comes down to is that you have to be comfortable with you being you, regardless of what anyone else says. And so authenticity starts with you. It starts with how you perceive yourself. And it starts with being true to who you are, and not, releasing the need to live up to any kind of stereotype. And because of the fact that we're, quote, African Americans, as, is defined, by American society, right? Black, whatever it is that, again, labels, right? They want to put labels on us versus actually just tapping into who we are, the authenticity of who we are. And so you learn how you treat others, or others learn how to treat you by how you teach them to treat you, right? And so then it comes down to, who do I want in my circle? If someone's not going to accept me for who I am, and that's not someone that I need to be around. And really being able to be, I think for myself, I'm always been a what you see is what you get. What you see, I've always been that way. It's never been, a surface, oh, okay, well, she's like this with some people, like this. I've always been who I am. And so that's what I think what's happened too is that because my voice might seem a little deceiving, right? I have a wealth of knowledge, but I have this, it's been across from, you should do meditations, to, gosh, I didn't know you were that old, right? Because of my voice. like, again, try to categorize me. But please don't come up against me when it comes to talking about authentic success. I know I can run circles around people, but I have this night, that's not what I'm out here to do. I'm out here to be the light, and we're all here to be the light that we've been created to be. And this world needs us more than ever, especially those who are willing to step into their authentic selves, because we actually then help give permission to others to be authentic.
And I have a question for you.
Yes.
You said, you really didn't have like a hard time, like going in. It's like what you see is what you get. And, as we talk about like our community too, it's like most of people don't get that ability to have that mindset. It's kind of like I'm trying to be who you see. Right. And so, like just anybody that's listening, because it is powerful to know that, we do have women that, can come on, and have that powerhouse when you go into that room or that door. But for those that might not, it's like, and you just talked about it, like just authentic, knowing yourself. And those are things I talk about. But what, on your perspective, or what would be like a key thing that somebody could take the first step and go in that direction, especially say they don't have like a light skin color, they don't have a soft voice, they don't have none of those elements, but they are themselves, and they need to be able to, embody that. So like, how do they see that, knowing that they might not see themselves on this screen right now, right?
Okay, right. So they're not necessarily seeing themselves potentially reflected. And I think that we all, maybe on this panel, have, I think even Amy, potentially have had the experience of walking into spaces where we don't feel reflected, right? And so then it comes down to looking at part of when I talk about authentic success versus fear-based success. Let's just take it from there. Fear-based success is based on the expectations of others. It's based on trying to conform to another societal stereotype, societal ways of being or doing things. And so if you're tuning in today and you're wondering, okay, how can I take that first step? Really what it comes down to is tapping into your well, right? And understanding what makes you unique. I would literally list out 10 characteristics of what makes you you. I would write them down on a sheet. What is it that you enjoy about yourself? And if you're struggling with trying to figure that out, then that's obviously that's an indicator of a great area for healing, right, for you. And just take it that way and just say, wow, this is an opportunity for me to heal. Don't ever look at anything as a loss. If you can always look at something as a win or a learn, versus anything as something that you're missing, that it's a mistake or anything like that. Kind of we have to shift the perspective of how we see our experiences, how we see ourselves in the world. Okay, well, I have this voice, that sounds a little bit different. Maybe, I have this look, but everything I believe is not by coincidence. I believe everything is here for us to experience life in the way that we do, so that we can show up in the spaces that will help inspire, teach others. So if you can look at your characteristics of what makes you unique, if you have difficulty doing that, then ask one or two people that are really close to you, what is it that you appreciate about me? Or what is it that you see in me? If you're having a difficult time doing that for yourself, and then, allow yourself to receive it. we have this mask because we've been, so many people have been so hurt that they have difficulty receiving anything in, which is really receiving love. Right. So if you can receive what someone is sharing about you, and even the words that you say about yourself, and actually accept them and take them to heart, you're going a long way. Because a lot of times it's really a mask that people wear. The reason why they mask is because they're hurting inside. They haven't been accepted. They feel as if they don't have anyone who really truly knows them or cares about them. And it comes down to love, doesn't it? Right? Self-love. Yep. And how others perceive you, which is also kind of releasing that and loving yourself enough to be who you are regardless.
I want to expand on that and then have Melissa follow. And that's one thing I think we as a community, as Black women, can all relate to. We haven't been loved in the way that we would like. We have in some ways, but culturally as a community, we've been fetish, I don't know if we've been a fetish. I don't know if fetishized is the word, but we've been told that, oh, you're beautiful, but in a way that's sexualized. And even within our own community, the whole like rape culture and rap music, the way that, oh, your hair is cute, like your braids are cute, so now the Kardashians can wear braids, or Bo Derek can wear braids. Now they're beautiful. Your jewelry, like Melissa said, oh, you have on that necklace, but then all of a sudden, women who are white can now wear jewelry and everything. And so having discussions like this, and like Anna said, we're all sharing our light, is to show like, no, you are beautiful with nappy hair, curly hair, straight hair, short hair, long hair. Like the whole curly girl hair movement has been great. Like my hair is blow dried now and dyed, but anyway, but it's usually curly. And I remember like being told, like, you have to get a perm, you have to get your hair straightened. The Crown Act has just really passed. The Crown Act, where Black women and other women of color, but can walk into a job and have an Afro puff and not be told that they have to change their hair in order to get a job. It is 2021, and that law just passed in 2020. So Wesley, I think it's so right to hear, like, what if somebody is tall? What if somebody is overweight? What if somebody, and who's to say, like, just because somebody's skinny, they're the authority on what nutrition and body image looks like? Just because somebody has 2 legs and can walk around, who are they to be the authority of what physical fitness is? Just because somebody is light or white, who are they to be the authority on the human experience? And so if we could acknowledge that, it can hopefully create space where anyone can say, I'm okay.
You just piggyback off of love. So I'm gonna just go another, in depth. It's like, once you have that love, you create empathy, right? And so it's like the problem in the world today, it lacks empathy. It constantly sees less in so many people, so you can't see more in them, and unfortunately we are, the majority, right? Like, and so, and it includes, both communities, whether it's the Black community, the disabled community, like anything that can that's not dominant has been shed to light, because even all the laws that are being passed now, like the Crown Act, it's like you just said, it would be a hard day in hell to argue with a Black woman about her hair when a law just passed about her hair. Right. Like there's it, and it's kind of like a lot of people are blind to the awareness that we're fighting a fight that has not ended in 400 years or more. Like it, it is progressing, but we're still fighting.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a word. We are still fighting. Whew.
So Miss Melissa.
Yes. Yeah. So no, I'm just taking all of this in, and reflecting on it both personally and certainly with folks that I work with, but really that sense of it does start with loving oneself and accepting oneself, and we are taught that we are unacceptable. And so in getting past that, and I love Anna's idea of writing down the things that you value about yourself. And if you can't, ask someone, a couple of people very close to you. And you don't necessarily want people who are just cheerleaders, and you certainly don't want people who are all negative. You want someone who will actually really take this seriously and say, look, this is what you bring to my life. this is what I see you bring to the lives of others, because we're actually wired from an evolutionary point of view to look at the negative. Our brains are created from and it's basically to keep us alive. So we're always looking for what's the threat? What's the threat? What's the negative aspect? And so when we hear that and we're fed that, that is what we believe about ourselves more often. I mean, we are just wired to believe that. And so, and I think it takes, for every negative statement you hear about yourself, it takes 8 to 10 positive statements to actually counteract that. That one negative statement, that one negative belief. So, so there's that. So you really need to put as much as you can. If you don't have people in your life who will do that, look to the things that you're allowing into your life. Social media, music, things that you're watching on TV, movies. All of these things are feeding into your brain on a constant basis, whether or not you are consciously aware of it. And so you really are wanting to be selective about what you're bringing in to reflect love, to reflect light, to reflect truth, not society's version of how, the truth of what a Black person is, because we know all of that is nonsense, and, or at least those of us on this panel know that. But a lot of people, unfortunately, don't yet know that. And they are fighting the fight, and we are fighting the fight. And so, for us to come up and really, as Anna said, be the light. And maybe we are some of those voices, absolutely, that people will look to say, okay, that is not just Blackness, that's truth. I don't care what color you are. You could be black, white, yellow, orange, polka dot. It doesn't matter. It's really, who are we authentically? And I look at the things that are going on in the world today, and I really look at it. The way I have to make sense of it is, it is a detox. Like, this is a huge bringing everything to the surface, because it was there. We all know it's there. We've been living it our entire lives. It's always there. It's just now coming up to the surface so that other people see that it's there. And really looking at, okay, this is something that Black people and people of color have been living with and dealing with for centuries. And now we can't ignore it. And once again, we need to be the voices for ourselves, because as this is coming up, this is an opportunity for us to change things, to make things, to bring things to the forefront, and not let the script be written again for us by others. And so what kind of script do we want to write for ourselves?
I like that.
Like it, write your own story. I got it on in my gym. I have a mural, and it says, "How will your story end?"
Yep.
It's just, that's what I think about every day.
Yeah.
And you got something that looked like you were about to kind of drop some gems on us. I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Well, taking all of this in, and first of all, just the beauty of just these faces, right? The inside out beauty of the people who are on this panel. And I think starting the change in the narrative with discussions like this. And April, I'm so thankful that you and Open Up have partnered, with being able to bring such important discussions, because at the end of the day, when you have the opportunity to look back at the end of your life, are you going to say that you lived your life for you? Or are you going to say that you lived your life living up to the expectations of others, which is not really living? And so, you have to come back to who you are. and really understand that authentic is really embracing that. And that means going against the status quo. That's what that means, right? Because you've been living a status quo life, but that isn't really authentic living, right? If you can look, what I did is I listed out some of the things that you can identify. You can ask yourself, okay, am I living authentically or am I living a fear-based life? And so you can ask yourself these questions. Authentic is, characteristics of authentic are your willingness to be vulnerable, your willingness to be real, your willingness to go deep, right? You're not a surface, you're willing to go beyond the surface. You are living in self-integrity, and meaning that no matter what. So if that means going against the status quo, then that's what that means. That means that you're coming from a place of self-love. And, if you're living a fear-based life, or trying to create success in fear, from a fear-based place, you're closed instead of vulnerable. You have this shell of toughness. And a lot of times, because of the way that, Black women have been treated in society, there has been that shell of toughness, right? We're underneath, oh my gosh, just so many emotions and just so much love, that the fear, right, of being vulnerable. Someone who's focused on fear, maybe even unknowingly, is someone who looks good from the outside. They want to make sure that they keep up appearances, right? So they want to make sure that their life looks great on the outside, but really on the inside, they're anything but. Someone who skims life on the surface and kind of pushes people, kind of keeps people at a distance. These are things to kind of be thinking about, if any of these are resonating with any of our viewers out there. Someone who is other-centered, meaning that they're so focused on people pleasing and living up to, the expectations of others, that they don't come back to their heart self, which is being heart-centered. Authentic living is heart-centered living. Really, it's really tapping into who you are, the truth of who you are. And so, really, fear is a form of self-hate, right? When you're living in fear, that means you haven't fully accepted yourself. And so that's really, these are all signals to you that, wow, instead of, again, looking at this as a learn, don't look at this as, oh my gosh, I've been doing this to myself. I know this is a fantastic opportunity for you to look at your life and say, you know what, I want to step back and I want to start living my life authentically. And I want to start tuning into those who can teach me about authentic living. I want to make sure that I'm surrounding myself with inspiring people. I can choose. It's 100% taking 100% personal responsibility for your outcomes in life. So that means that you're choosing who you have around you. You're choosing what kind of input you're allowing into your life. You're choosing because it's a choice. And so, yes, while you might not be able to control, the circumstances around you, you can, have some measure of control about what you're allowing in and of how you're allowing that to shape you.
I like that part of it. And I left this with us when we talked at the panel discussion. And Anna, you said it, like, Black women, we have this tough exterior and interior because we've had to protect our hearts. And I know as a Black woman, it's a big risk to be authentic and be true to who you are. It's a big risk because society doesn't accept it. So it's a big risk to be authentic. Like we talked about the Crown Act. You want to wear your hair just like you want to wear it, but it's a risk. You might lose your job. It's a big risk I've had conversations just this week where people were like, I'm not going to speak up and speak out about how I feel when I'm in a room where other people, I know I'm sitting in a room with people who don't agree with who I am and what I am. So if I speak up or speak out, I can't pay my mortgage. I can't pay my bills because I'm going to lose my job. It's a big risk to walk into a room where you're the only Black woman there and be who you are. Like, how do we as Black women continue to do that? And we have done it. We've done it at a risk and we've done it out of necessity. So,
from a man's point of view, right? Like, I was raised around women. My mom, strong Black woman, and very yellow. she's hot yellow. You know, my grandma was the same, man. But what I found is even like just, you know, in this community, you know, even though it might not be put on the forefront, Black women are powerful and strong. And that adversity sinks in a lot different to our Black women, that it pours out the vulnerability when we can have conversations like this. Meaning I can try to press a Black man to have a conversation like this, and it's a lot harder. But Black women have experience and are willing to start to create change. So when I look at things and I look at people that aren't using their voices, they have so many people that they can focus and follow and look up to. Because like even within you guys, or looking at the women that are in leadership today, I mean, that is gravitating more than just one Black man as a, you know, as a president, you know, or like, and so not saying like we don't have other Black men in leadership. What it's doing is showing the power of women voices. And what happens is now you got all these millions of voices following up right after it. And so like I see more self-awareness being created because of you guys and what you guys are doing, because now I see as, you know, all different complexions and coming together and being able to talk about all these different issues that are in workspaces or in communities, or like you said, like in schools, and putting it on the forefront. Well, the powerhouse is the Black woman. I mean, I don't know how many people, you know, understand that, but I do, you know, and I've read enough to understand and believe that for myself. And so when we're talking about the self-love, and we're talking about the vulnerability and like, how do we get people to even get to this point? I think just the leadership that we have, I mean, we got years that we get to have these women start using their voices, right? You haven't even heard them yet at a magnitude. Look at Miss Obama, right? Like she went from, you know, a lot of people just, they're quiet after they leave, you know what I mean? And she made more noise than probably when she was there, you know, and making tremendous strides into the communities to empower. And so from just sitting as, you know, I am feeling empowered. I actually, when I see Black women on the street and I see them doing well, I have my daughter, right? So I'm a single father to my daughter. And so I have my daughter, I'm like, look. And she's always wondering, like, why am I so happy about it? I'm like, man, you don't even know. That is motivating right there. I'm like, I'm motivated by her, you know? And so like, for me, it is being shown more, right? Like it is being shown that Black women can be successful, that Black women don't have to be on the back end, you know, that Black women can come in and be themselves. And it starts with the hair sometimes. You know what I mean? Like that conversation of saying, keep your hair the way it is, has shifted to people being more empowered about who they are. You know what I mean? And so from me looking out, I'm like, man, I see more Black women with natural hair, you know, and kids too. And so I'm being able to tell kids like, oh my God, I love your hair. And I'm like, you know, and they're smiling and they're embracing it, compared to when I grew up and you would never see that. You know what I mean? You wouldn't see the natural hair. It was like, oh, we got to get it straight real quick. You know what I mean? And so like, I have my sister that I grew up with. So it was like, I seen that. So I just wanted to share from outside looking in of the power that I think most Black men are seeing, right? Like, and it's giving us the ability to even influence these young women, because as much as our women want to figure out how to help our men, we're trying to figure out how to help these young women that are growing up and make sure that they develop and not worry about, like April said earlier, of the sexism and things like that, of how Black women are directed or portrayed. You know, like, look at me as a powerhouse and somebody that's moving mountains, and not somebody that you trying to move mine, right? Like, no.
I like that. And then Melissa, I want to share one thing and have you share.
Yeah.
It's important to hear that from you, Wes, that a Black man is being influenced by Black women being raised up. And when you look at history and you look at the Black Panther Party, when you look at the civil rights movement, Black women have been put on the back burner. It was Rosa Parks who made an action step, a move that was decided upon to do. And Martin Luther King Jr. did a ton of work. He was supported by a lot of Black women and Black men. And we've seen so many instances where even in our movements to go forward, there has been such dissension between Black men and Black women. And it's really important that we forge that, because we're partners in this, and it's not one behind the other. And I also wanted to mention, when we look at Michelle Obama, and we look at like Stacey Abrams, and these are two brown-skinned sisters, 100% Black American. Even as they got to where they are, and they have risen, they've gone high and everything, Michelle Obama was still called a horse, and Stacey Abrams was just called Fat Albert or something recently. And those are the kind of things that it takes all of us to speak up. It takes Black women to hold each other up. It takes Black men to speak up for us as well. And I also wanted to ask you, Melissa, about how do we care for ourselves? Because I see so many Black women who are doing it, especially these young Black women. I have some clients, I am so impressed with them. They're buying houses, they're in their 20s, they're doing these things, but they're sacrificing their own self. I had one client told me, rest is a luxury. She literally said, rest is a luxury. And I was like, my friend, it's not. So I leave that with you.
Yeah, and so I want to speak to that, and then I had a couple of thoughts, also some of what we were talking about. But in terms of we're in a society anyway, at least in the United States, where it's like go, 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 go. If you're not going, then you're not doing enough. Then you're not showing up. Then you're not going to have the things. Then you're not successful. And once again, it's looking at whose definition of success. Yeah. You know, so it's really looking at how we want to define success for ourselves, and in order to actually show up powerfully for ourselves, for our families, for, you know, those whom we're helping in whatever spaces, those whom we're leading, for us to show up, we actually have to first pour into ourselves. Mm-hmm. Because if we don't allow that time, that space, and that can be in all kinds of ways, that you need to get proper rest. I mean, just even from a biological, physiological point of view, you can't think properly if you don't get enough rest. And if you can't think properly, then you can't make the decisions that are actually going to move you forward, or that are going to be in your for your best self. So you need to be able to rest, and you need to be able to try to nourish yourself in good ways, whether it's food, whether it's spiritually, whether it's with exercise. All of these things are certainly from a pure biological point of view, these things are necessary for your body to actually function in its optimum way. And then, so putting aside even the physical part, in order for you to actually feel good about yourself, you're a whole person. We are all whole people. And wholeness is not just about focusing on one aspect of how we show up. It's not just the doing. And for those of us who are parents or have young people in our lives in some capacity, whether you're an aunt, an uncle, a teacher, whatever it may be, you have to remember you're modeling that for your young people who are watching you. And they're going to look at, oh, wow, she's so exhausted. Oh, it feels like it's never ending. Oh, this is the way it has to be. And is that really the way it has to be? No, it doesn't. That's the way that we are choosing for it to be. And I think always remembering that it's a choice. And sometimes the choices don't seem, maybe you don't have that many options, it feels like. But regardless, even not making a choice is a choice. So if you say, oh, well, there's nothing I can do, well, that's a choice. Whether or not, the hard truth is that's a choice. And so if you are choosing to run yourself ragged. Now I understand when yes, you have to put food on the table, you have to pay the bills, you've got to do this, this, and that. But in order for you to actually show up and be strong in yourself, you have, it's very important for you to take even if it's 15 minutes a day, take 15 minutes a day. In the morning, for example, I get up and I journal 15 minutes a day. I also do tapping yeah, Wesley, because it just helps to center. Some people don't like journaling. Maybe they listen to a guided meditation. Maybe they go for a walk. Maybe they do some yoga. Maybe they do something that gets them in the space. And it doesn't mean that you have to spend an hour doing something, but you are as important as the people that you are taking care of.
Right. Amen to that.
And we, especially as Black women, I think women in general, but certainly as Black women and women of color, we are all about, okay, I got to take care of this. I got to take care of that. I got to do, you know, this and that. And we're nowhere on that list.
Yeah.
And so it really is taking care of yourself. You are worth that. And sometimes we feel guilty when we do that. Sometimes we feel like, oh, I don't know, I don't have. And so when you're running yourself ragged, really stop for a minute and say, okay, well, why am I running myself ragged? Do I feel like I'm not deserving of actually taking some time for me? And if that's the case, really reminding yourself, I don't care, write it down places, put them on Post-it notes and put them in all around. You know, I am deserving, I am worthy, because the more that you see it, the more that you even if it's just glancing at it, it will begin to take root. But really taking some actions in that regard is really important. So like I said, you know, even if it's just starting some sort of practice, even if you don't have one yet, maybe, you know, 3 days a week, take 15 minutes and do something just for you. Yeah. And I know people may want to jump on that. I just want to throw this out there. Because it was a thought that I had when we were talking about something else, but as much as we look at the idea of defining ourselves by, you know, these quote unquote white standards, and that's what we're supposed to be, I think it's also important, you know, to look at that as people of color, there's not one experience. There is a variety of experiences. And so how many times do we also, I know I've been told countless times, you're not Black enough. So that's on the flip side, you know, that we're breaking ourselves down as a people when we have that infighting, that you're not showing up as enough in the Black community. So once again, coming back to Anna's point earlier, it really is about being authentic to you. And it may be that you want to be a big voice in the, you know, the Black community or with people of color, but it may be that that's not your shtick. That's not where you're at. Maybe it's just starting to be a voice for you, not for everybody. Just start practicing setting a boundary, saying no to something. Not always, yeah, I'll take care of that, when you know your to-do list is 15, you know, things deep and one more thing is just too much. You know, setting boundaries, that is you being authentic to you. So it starts small. It doesn't have to be this great big, oh my gosh, I have to be out there and lead a movement. and lead a people, it's first starting with leading yourself. And it starts in those small ways.
Mhm.
I was just thinking of of women who I know and appreciate. And I don't know if you all can identify this with this, but a stereotype of Black women is that we all just tell it like it is, and like we're pointing our fingers and rolling our heads and all of that kind of stuff. And I think part of the Black culture is just that we're expressive. We're verbal, we express ourselves, we show, we're animated, we're creatives. But saying no is so hard in other ways. And it's like, if we as Black women can transfer that energy, like sometimes you tell the kids, you like, boy, you better go sit down somewhere, or girl, go do this, or, like we're able to say that in certain areas. And I think of women who I really admire, like they would take time for themselves. Like they would work all day, do whatever, like cook, clean. I'm sorry, my thing is going off. They cook, clean, do all this other stuff, but then like lock the bathroom door and take a bath, and you better not disturb them. Or they get up at 6 a.m. and go get their hair done, and you better not say anything. So how can we transfer that energy to be authentic to who we are, and carry that into more of our daily stuff, especially when it comes to the Black community? And maybe we can end on sharing one thing about that, because we've met our hour time limit.
Oh.
It's all good. We can always continue this and come back, because it's powerful, and there's no way that you can talk about Black issues in an hour, right? Like,
Right.
there's no way. All we did was just hit the surface, and probably not even that. We were just going with some icebreakers, So, but no, like if I had to think of something, I think the power of like the affirmations, but just self-awareness. I think that if people knew themselves, then they would understand their worth, and they would value their peace. And when you value your peace, you're not going out and putting negative energy into the air. You've created, transformed your mind to facilitate to being, worthy and choosing to be happy and peaceful and vulnerable, and I think that a lot of that it always goes back to self-awareness. For me, being a negative person to as positive and happy, full of life as I am, is because it was something that I had to practice and choose, and start to work on. But once I knew me, I knew I didn't want to put that energy out into the world. I wanted to make the world better. So it's an affirmation that I want to share. And it says, because this is my affirmation book, and so I'm big on them. If I will only change my thoughts, I can change the world.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Truth. That is truth.
And we're going to extend this conversation on Clubhouse this week. Anna and Melissa, do you want to share any closing thoughts?
Well, first of all, how wonderful, Wesley, that you were able to express in the way that you do. And you have such, it really matters how you show up for yourself, because then I'm finding that I'm joyful around you. I'm finding that I feel a sense of happiness and like, wow, just it feels so good, right? And we have that ability within ourselves to just to feel that for ourselves, and it just exudes outward. And so, Melissa, you said so many awesome things, and really about taking care of yourself and sleep. Oh my gosh, how important is that? And really, just thinking about some tips maybe to leave by. I'm a big proponent of affirmations as well as, and certainly developing a success mindset, and determine at the beginning of your day, before you allow anything else in, that you're going to have an amazing day. What are you speaking? What are you speaking life to yourself? Are you allowing life to speak to you?
Yeah. Ooh.
Right. Are you speaking life? When I say life, as in the world around you, right? Because it can be a distorted image of life. Your life is your truth, right, within you, and you get to create that. Even if you are in circumstances right now that seem challenging, the way you start changing that is you start changing your mindset about your circumstance, and you start changing your mindset about how you see yourself. And yes, those are, baby steps, right? You can start taking baby steps and leading from within. That's where you start. And if you're a woman, just know, I think if you're a Black woman, that you're a leader, period. You are a leader, period. Seriously, like you are showing up for yourself. You're showing up for your families. You're showing up for your sisters and brothers. You're showing up for yourself, starting with showing up for yourself. Know that you're a leader. Know that you have something worthy and valuable to give, starting with yourself. It's not even about what you do. It's just about who you are within. It's just the fact that you exist.
Amen.
And that you exist each and every day. It's a gift. And if you can look at life as a gift and start out with the affirmation of, you know what, start looking at yourself in the mirror, as hard as it might be, look at yourself in the eye and say, I am beautiful, I am powerful, I am strong. If you have to tell yourself that 20 times a day, that's what you do, because then your mind will start to grasp that, and it actually starts shaping that. And then you actually you have to become now what you desire to be. So if you are always waiting to become, it'll always be one day ahead of you. You have to step into now who you desire to be by owning that, owning who you are, owning and accepting the truth of who you are within. That's when you start with those words, the characteristics of who you are, asking somebody else if you're not quite sure, if you're not really quite feeling it, and writing affirmations from there and start speaking them into your life. And so I'm honored to be a part of this panel today. I am absolutely about creating authentic success and really defining that and being a voice for that, for women of color especially, and women in general, but certainly women of color. And we have the ability to create authentic success for ourselves, starting by leading from within.
You get snaps, Anna.
Yep. That's awesome. Yeah. Woohoo! Wow. All right. On the heels of that, awesomeness, as we like shower down, you should have been the last one to speak. So, woo! All right. But I think, a couple of things that I think when things happen, we are often looking at circumstances in our lives and we're saying, oh, why is this happening? Why is this happening? And I think really stopping, pausing and say, okay, this is not happening to me. This is happening for me. How is this happening for me? How is this helping me to show up in new and different ways? How is this helping me to step into my power in a new way? How is this helping me to release maybe some of my fears, my doubts about myself? So, and that can be difficult to do, but it's a very powerful thing when you can start to shift your mindset. And that is really stepping from a kind of more victim mindset to this powerful, I am powerful. I am successful. I can do this. I am a leader in my life and in the lives of others. And so it really is when we can shift and take responsibility for the things that show up in our life, that is when we take more control over the outcomes we create. When we're constantly saying, oh, this is happening to me, we're giving power to anybody and everybody external to us.
That's key, power, giving away our power.
And so we want to really step into our power, own who we are. And to do that is to take responsibility. Even if we're not really happy with what happened, an outcome, we can change that. We can change it for next time. We learn from that and then we change it. And then we allow ourselves to grow into our power. We're powerful just as we are. We have just forgotten that. We have forgotten that. And it's really about connecting with that power within and allowing that to shine.
Amen. Thank you for that power and authenticity. Right, Wes? Like,
and it's early over there.
Like, let's start with a Sunday. Also, I do jumping jacks. Like, right. So with everybody, if you guys are interested in what Melissa has to offer. She coaches. She's really great with coaching physicians. So my doctors, she really has such a niche for that. But I
work with other people too.
Yeah, I was gonna say it. Yeah,
And,
I've worked with her a long time. We'll put your information. We have information for Anna. We have information for Melissa, because for those watching, if you want to be supported, you want accountability, you really want to have somebody navigate where you're going right now in your life, don't do it alone. You do not have to do it alone. And I think that's what I want to drop to everybody. All of us on this call we've supported each other, and we've had support. And I mean, Anna and I have curled up in a bed together, rollers in our hair, eating cake, cupcakes there our whole life. Like we have cried, we have laughed, we have done everything. And so we're showing up authentically as who we are, and we want to be able to do the same. So we'll share your information. And Wes, I'll let you close, but we did have a friend of ours. Anna and I went to University of California at Santa Barbara, UCSB Gauchos. Woo! And one of our alumni, he tried to get on, but the technology has been a little wonky. But he said, "Hi, Wes," and he said, "Go Chiefs," which I almost hesitated saying that.
Hey,
I
love it. I can't wait. I'm excited about the game today. But honestly, I feel like I didn't want to leave with anything but another affirmation, because again, I'm fulfilled with my affirmations. Y'all have to join this affirmation group I do. It's at 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. So it's probably early for y'all, or late, right? But it's on Clubhouse. So if you ever, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and a lot of people share affirmations. So I always fill them in. But my first thing I want to do is, anybody that's listening, always remember that you are enough and you are worthy, right? And so I always tell myself those things, because I know I can be a better version of myself, but I am enough. If today was my last day on this earth, I am enough. All right. And that's how I speak. So now moving forward, affirmation I feel like everybody can do to build themselves better is something that I have right here. Is I am a work in progress, and I have come to understand that my progress never ends. I can always do better. I can always do more, and I can always help.
Thank you. I love that. So this was for the sisters today, and we appreciate Wes facilitating this for us. Next month, our goal is to make it for the brothers, and I will be facilitating that. So we look forward to it. And it seems like every time we have a panel discussion, we've done Black Bodies in Health and Wellness. Wes and I had an open discussion. We've done this. I always feel like we need to do a part 2. So we will probably extend another invitation out and maybe circle back around to having you both on. Thank you, Melissa, and thank you, Anna.
Well, thank you so much for inviting us.
An honor.
And thank you, Amy.
Thank
you, Amy.
so much.
Awesome week.
Everyone have a great one.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Oh, Wes, what's the name of your affirmation group?
Oh, I'll send it to you. He got up. It's on Clubhouse. I'll send it to you, Anna.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Great.
All right.